Building blocks, 2025 in Tel Aviv, the future of tech.
Hi everyone, my name is Elad. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Market Across, one of the most prominent PR agencies in the space, and also co-founded Chainwire, which is by far the biggest newswire dedicated to crypto. And I'll let you guys take the stage and present yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Tomer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Addressable. Addressable is a Web3 marketing and intelligence company. We connect wallets to the ad world, and we connect user information with websites and crypto protocols so that every crypto company can actually do marketing at scale.
Hello everyone, I'm Leon. I lead marketing at Polygon Labs. I've been at Polygon for almost 3 years now. And yeah, I assume most of you know it, but we're a scaling solution for Ethereum, and we have all other interesting projects coming up.
Hi, I go by Belko. I do community at Pudgy Penguins. If you don't know what Pudgy Penguins is, you might have seen a cute penguin character here and there or on social media, so should tie together with that.
He created all the GIFs, by the way, that you see.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because we all do marketing and everyone comes from a different background in marketing, like working in protocols and companies or service providers. So different like outlook to how marketing is and different experience. So I'd like to start with a very macro question that kind of also keeps me busy. We're now in a very interesting time in the market, given that the Trump administration is now really pushing for adoption to crypto. Having said that, the stock market is in decline, and hence also the crypto market is in a very volatile situation that we're not even sure if we're in a bull market, a bear market. Is it like a deep inside a very lucrative bull market, or is it the start of like a horrible bear market? How do you navigate that from a marketing perspective? Because also marketing changes a lot between, you know, the noise and like the mess that's happening when there's a bull market, and then you need to rise above that noise. And then in a bear market, you still need to be active and pushing for different marketing elements. And so just from your experience and your positions, how do you deal with that turbulence?
So we feel the market very well. We're working with 100 companies that are advertising all the time in bear markets, in bull markets. And what we see is that in crypto, you always have two things that you ship. You ship your product, and you want people to use that. And you ship your token, and you want people to invest in that. And a lot of times, these things are mixed, okay? You do that all together. You ship your ideas and visions because you not only want people to use that, you want all those people to actually be active investors in you. And this mix is the magic of crypto. And what we see now in the market is the investor side of things are slowing down. Those investors are more hesitant. So what do you have to do? You have to make the users enjoy your product more actively and be your engaged community, even though their investment is not their only magnet to you. It means that those sustainable companies, those that are actually selling something that people need, something that people want, those companies are doing very well, while those companies who are in the crowdfunding stage, where they just need the funding to start something, are doing worse. And in terms of marketing, it means that, and we started Addressable 3 years ago when there was another bear market. In those markets, you need to build something. You need to actually do something that people like, people want, people will be entertained from. And this is the only key. Because the investors, they'll come and go. There are cycles in investment, and the market is up and down. But if you do something that people want and need, that's the only key to success in this market, and this is what we see today.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things that Tomer said. I think we're in a really tricky situation right now. At least from my perspective, 2 years ago when there was a bear market, it was very clear, you don't spend money on KOLs, you don't spend money on crazy things. Now we're still spending you still also service providers are charging a lot of money as if we're still in the peak of a bull market, but the sentiment is not there. So, but there is so it is tricky, and I'm struggling with the market situation right now. You don't know if in 3 months it's going to go back, and the competition right now, it's crazy. So you can't slow down if in 2-3 months we're going to be back and everyone's going to tokens are going to go up again. So at least from the meantime, we're treating this as still bull market, full speed on all the marketing activations, materials, and campaigns, hoping that we're really going to go back to what it felt at least 2-3 months ago. But it could be that if in 2-3 months it doesn't happen, we go back to building mode, focusing more on the tech and less on hype or other different tactics. But yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of active effort, it remains the same regardless of what the market does. It might actually be better, at least from my point of view, to keep pushing when the market is kind of slow, just because it takes time to build that connotation in people's heads. And we hope when the market returns, they're going to make that connection, and it's going to work out in our favor in a sense where they might actually buy into the brand or the community.
Yeah, so I completely agree. That's actually Polygon is a good example because Matic's launch was during a bear market. That didn't change Sandeep's motivation to just be in everyone's faces all the time. And then when 2020 came along and it became, you never know if it's a bull market or bear market until a year goes by, right? So at that point in time, nobody really knows because it can always be the exact point where the market flips. And I think that's a really good example of and kind of resonates with what you said and also you, Tomer, so that when you keep pushing and being out there doing a bear market, when the noise comes along in the bullish times, that's where people recognize what you've done before and see that you're not just it's not an opportunistic effort. So I completely agree. Yeah, from your experience, just in crypto, which is an environment that changes a lot, and things can be cool now, and then in a week they're not relevant. Meme coins were the coolest thing 2 months ago, and now there's meme coin. People are literally putting it off their websites. How do you navigate those trends? And do you jump on different trends? Do you stay away from some of the trends? Do you play around with them? And then what would you think is the biggest pitfall when it comes to trying to adjust to the crypto market from a marketing perspective?
Yeah, I can answer. It's always tricky, but I would say that it's much more important to focus on what you're building and kind of lead your narrative or based on what you actually what your vision is, your mission, and just stick to that, let's say 80% of your efforts. But if you're a big blockchain that it's general purpose and has all these different verticals, and AI is the newest thing that everyone's talking about, so you don't want to stay outside of the equation. So you still find ways to talk about it, mention it, highlight the projects that are building AI products on your blockchain, or you do grants that with a specific track for AI, for example. But at the same time, I can tell you, we at Polygon want to extremely focus now on payments and RWAs. But when the AI came, we were like, okay, we'll do some activations in AI. You want to stay relevant. You want to still be in the conversation. But it's not 100% of your effort. It will be 20-30%. So you are in the conversation. So it's a balance that you need to maintain. By the way, we have made this mistake in the past. They're the new thing is gaming. So let's put all of our efforts in gaming for, 6 months. And then it's gaming is dead now. And now let's move to deepin. And now let's move in. I don't know if for whoever follows Polygon probably have seen that mistake happen in the past. So
it was before your time.
Of course. Or at least before I was in this position. But so yeah, but I would say it's a balance of maintain what you believe in, 80% of your efforts, and then leave some room for the narratives that are hot at that moment.
Yeah, we now, I guess, are kind of categorized in the meme coin space. So we're living that kind of struggle. But I think how we're going to tackle it is with the mindset of trying to cultivate, the community push, kind of like the XRP army or like Link Marines, and you combine that with virality of a character or a meme, kind of like Doge or Pepe, and I think the potential is amazing there. And I think the fact that the coin is relatively cheap or it's down, that opens opportunities for people to join in and to grow with the community.
The market trends are very fast, and the amount of time and effort to build something is very slow. So in marketing, it's easy. You talk about new things, but can you really deliver? So market trends are, usually putting the focus on things that have been existed in that area that were just not as hyped as before, because you cannot create a deep-in project within 6 months or a game within 6 months or a very successful NFT community within 6 months. So usually what we see is that it takes more stamina for a project to say this is actually going to work. We need to survive ups and downs until what we are doing, until people understand our vision. And this is what a lot of projects that are surviving and building themselves up are doing. They're keeping their vision, even that this is not the coolest thing at the moment, because you cannot just jump after every trend. You won't be fast enough. The trend will change after 6 months. So in addressable specifically, we are a very robust platform. And at the beginning, we decided we're not going to after one vertical or another in crypto, but we index everything. We index every user in the space, no matter if it's deep in or AI or node sale or exchange or wallet or meme coin or NFT. We indexed everybody so that no matter what the trend is, we have all those users that do that thing in our database so you can market your thing to them. And this robustness now serves us when every 6 months, 20 new projects come in with the same idea. And this robustness enables us to move fast. We just need to show the new customers what audiences are there. And in crypto, everybody can be indexed because it's all on chain.
So you touched on like the difference between marketing in like a bearish trend versus a bullish trend. Let's talk about, like, there's crypto is notorious for hype marketing, right? And that's usually something that works better in a bull market when there's a lot of hype in the industry in general. But how do you separate between marketing for a token or marketing for a group of, as you said, retail investors or investors in general, and then marketing for the actual tech or the like? When do you choose to focus on that, and when do you choose to focus on that, and how does the token itself affect the way that you look at marketing? For example, you said that now a lot of people are going for KOLs, and like that's like a big thing, and it's very expensive because the KOLs think that we're in a bull market, they still didn't make the switch. When's like, how do you involve them? Because obviously they are important to get some excitement around the token, but how do you look at that from a marketing perspective? Like, when do you focus, or how do you differentiate between focusing on the tech and like the business or the products, and then the token that's always there in the background?
Yeah, I think that the markets have shifted in the last year. If I looking at 1 or 2 years ago, it was like, who has the best tech? And that's what the crypto bubble was looking at. And I think it's shifted at some point in the last year where like, okay, let's talk about apps, let's talk about use cases, let's talk about product market fit. And I think maybe Polymarket, like breaking out to Web2, is like was an understanding. It was like, are the things that actually matter and not just talking about technology. Like, I don't know, the Ethereum today is not doing as well because they're so focused on the tech, but they're not talking, they don't talk about like what they're enabling, what the use cases. So I think we're in a point in the market that we need to focus on more what value we bring as products rather than just talking about ZK technology, which Polygon also 2 years ago, we shifted to ZK technology because that was the hot trend and we wanted to basically win the market in that. And then we're this year, it's like no one cares about ZK, or most people don't care about ZK besides maybe very specific bubbles. And in terms of hype, I think as long as you have what to hype, you should do it and spend the money and do a big campaign. If you don't have anything that it's real to sell at that moment, it's better to wait because hyping things and doing big promises, it's just gonna hurt you back at some point. It's not sustainable long term. We're lucky enough to be, like at least Polygon is lucky enough to have been here for long enough to already see that. We have promised a lot of things in the last few years that we're not really figured out yet, like in the product or in the tech. So we wanna focus way more on the things that are actually, we know that we can do and that we're gonna deliver and wait for the right moment to hype them and rather than looking in the short term perspective. And even if it affects the token, and there's no... By the way, I don't believe that marketing affects the token, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's bomb dropped.
They say the best marketing is just price go up.
That's why it's the other way around.
Yeah. But I think for me, the goal is to get as many people involved and kind of convey how they are joining a journey, and they should, I mean, best case scenario, they should be adding some sort of value, whether it's via being a KOL or adding some sort of technical value to the space. So I think most of the time we just echo the current trend, and yeah, we utilize the community sentiment heavily on that.
I believe there are two marketing funnels, one for your investors that invest in the token, one for the users that want your product or something cool to do. And the best types of users are those who do both because they believe in what they have and they believe in you. They not only use that, they also invest in that. And sometimes you have this experience in the stock market. You use something that is so good, you say, okay, I have to also buy this company's stock. And in crypto, it's easier. Like a lot of the people can be both the users of your product and the investors in your token, and sometimes it's embedded in the system. So I think the marketing for those different personas is very different. People want investors to invest in their token. They speak one language, and the messaging is different. The audience is different. And a lot of times when they want people to use, let's say, the game or the wallet, they address, or the protocol, they talk to other people, they do other things. So these are two different personas and different messaging and different funnels of marketing, and they can all be measurable, can all be really well assessed. The token ones are not only by the price of the token, but also the amount of buyers per day, the amount of sellers, the amount of people with a wallet that are interested in your token. And in the user part, it's actually measuring daily active users like any other product in the world. And this exists in crypto. All of these things exist in crypto. It's very, very, very well measured. It's measurable, and it's just separating the two in our experience to those different types of people in the world that should see different messages.
So that's a very solid point. So just to expand on that, so you say that the price of the token has nothing to do with marketing,
It's not directly
yeah,
affected.
like
Yeah, you can bring builders, bring users, create a community around it, but like it's not like, oh, I'm going to announce this thing and the price is going to go up 30%. By the way, maybe if you're a very low cap token, that could work. For big tokens, it just
yeah,
you
it wouldn't move the needle
millions.
enough.
You need millions to move it. That would not move it.
Depends whether it's an old token that existed for a long time, and then it's hard to market it as a new thing. It's still the same thing, or it's a new token. New tokens have the marketing has immense effect on whether people know about this new token, the new vision, new product, and they'll invest in that. While companies that are in the market 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years that have a token for a long time, you're right. It's very hard to now say, oh, buy that token that is actually representing something that everybody know and everybody had an opinion about. For new ones, it's make or break marketing for new tokens.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't need marketing for the token to be appreciated or bought or whatever, but I don't think like making, there's a belief sometimes that, oh, I'm going to make this announcement and the token's going to pump by 30%, and I'm going to put KOLs and PR and all these things and spend $100,000 on marketing for a week and then hoping that it's going to change the token price. It's like, and that day Trump goes and says something else and it drops by 30%. Like, my point is like, I would not build a marketing strategy based on that expectation that the token is going to move. You need to build a market strategy hoping that users are going to come, builders are going to come to your blockchain if it's a blockchain, and that all together will have a good positive impact. But it's not like there are founders who just tell you, hey, let's do a big campaign, pay all these KOLs and the token's going to go up. It's just not a realistic expectation.
So talking about like Web2 and user acquisition and stuff like that, if we're talking about Web3, a lot of times, it's not even about the users themselves for different projects, especially low caps, by the way, that they just want to launch and that the token will be successful and then we'll figure out the users. And I think that's something that we lack in the industry because, we need to build products and things that people actually want to use. So I personally relate to what you say. And having said that, how would you measure the effectiveness of any marketing campaign that you produce? So we have a PR agency. Obviously, we can measure how many hits you had in the media and the quality of those hits and the narratives and if they sit well. And then when you Google stuff, there are all kinds of ways to measure different marketing campaigns. How would you, or what's the most important way or method that you use in order to understand if a marketing campaign that you've launched is successful or less successful, or if you've hit your KPIs?
So measurements of marketing channels is our business, and we do that by measuring cost per wallet. Cost per wallet is something that enables you to measure both marketing channels that are brand and marketing channels that are for conversion. The cost per wallet means that how many wallet owners came in from that marketing channel, that campaign, and what was the cost per one wallet to come in. And this metric enables all of the customers, both those who are just building now and creating a community, and those who have a blockchain and a product and a lot of things to do with that, they all can measure what really moves the needle for them in terms of real wallet owners that came in. So every PR article can be counted by how much did I pay for that PR and how many wallets came in, and then divide the two numbers. And this is fundamental because a lot of times people will say, hey, I'll give you 10,000 followers, or my 10,000 followers as a KOL will hear your message, but only 5% of them have a wallet and they're not relevant at all. So a lot of times in the attention world with KOLs and PRs and different organic messaging and ads, nobody's really selling anything more than viewers in your website, or people are coming in to see your Twitter profile. And in cost per wallet, we actually can exactly measure how many crypto owners are coming in and they can be retargeted forever and ever. So whenever a PR is out or whenever a KOL is putting out a message, you can actually see exactly how relevant it was for you because you know exactly how many wallets came in. And this, in a nutshell, is how to make everything apples. So apples to apples in all channels, apples to apples in all projects. And then we also have, and once we came up with this metric, we also have benchmarks. So now new projects comes in and they say how much is the cost per wallet in that channel or that PR or in the block or Blockworks or Bitcoin.com? What's the cost per wallet in the UK for a KOL like this or like that? And we have this metric from previous projects. And this is actually apples to apples, not only across channels, but also across projects. Some sell nothing at all for the next 3 years, and some are actually selling something. So it's a way to get this benchmark across the industry to make people understand what to predict and how to really pay these channels accordingly.
Yeah, I want to say that if you're, I'm not talking about Polygon for a second, if you're a B2C product, let's say Polymarket, they measure. They not different than Web2, very easy way to, but there are tools today like Addressable is one of them, Spindle's another one that you can just measure the attribution of and just literally see a funnel. I think we have a problem in the industry. We don't have real products. That's why there's no marketing attribution because there's nothing to attribute to. There's no checkout or there's no something, even maybe an NFT project that is counting the mints. Okay, that's something you can measure. For more of B2D blockchain, which is like Polygon, it's actually very difficult. We don't spend money in user acquisition just because we kind of delegate that to the apps on top of it, hoping that they're going to do that user acquisition. They're going to build real products, real apps. We don't necessarily are targeting customers to build, to open a wallet on Polygon, for example, to what Tomer was saying. So a lot of the measuring is top of the funnel, social impressions, if it's a PR campaign, so what you see on the PR, how many people come to the website, developers go to the documentation, and there are tools today like Kaito that you can measure mindshare. That's something I'm looking at constantly. That's how I measure if a campaign is successful. You can see the change in mindshare and brand awareness for that specific time frame for every day that you have a campaign. But the actual attribution is just it doesn't exist for blockchains unless you're targeting end users and not developers. For developers, it's just hard because they might go to, it's a permissionless, right? You never know when, there's not a sign up, oh, they sign up, they started building in my platform. There's you don't never know when that happens. And I tried for months to solve that issue and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Kaito is a good example. It lets you see exactly the spike in mindshare after a specific campaign. It's usually pretty predictable. I think you would hope that it translates into people actually being able to convey, some sort of good connotation to the brand or the product over a longer period of time, which then you can maybe measure by mindshare on a longer time scale. But I think ultimately, when you look at the year-over-year growth of products, you can't really measure how much people are actually talking. In the sense of are they speaking about it in a good way or a bad way? I think you can ask Grok or ChatGPT what's the general sentiment of this product, and it might tell you, but I'm not sure where you exactly measure that.
So measurability in crypto is something that, as you said, it's always there are not enough products, and completely agree with that, and that's why measuring how successful something was sometimes presents an issue. What would you say? We're running out of time, and I can say a lot about that. But what if you had one tip to give a marketeer in this market right now that's trying to, juggle all that and come up with a marketing strategy? What would that one tip be?
I want to say that try your best to measure. It depends on the product, again, and what you can measure. As a marketeer, showing results to your founders, your leadership team is super important so they know what you've been doing. I start with like the token. Sometimes it's not getting affected by the marketing, but they might look at the token and say, oh, marketing is not working. So being able to show results of what you're doing, it's super important. So I guess my caveat is, like I said, it's hard to measure, but whatever you can measure, try to show it. Otherwise, your founders are going to say, oh, you're not doing a good enough job. So it's important to show something, even if it's top of the funnel.
Unless you're doing a shitty job, but the token goes up.
Yeah, and if you're still doing a shitty job, don't show anything. But they're not going to ask, so it's fine.
Yeah, the metrics definitely matter. I would say understand that the chances or like the likelihood of having an actual impact on the token, it increases the longer you put in that effort. So persistent effort should eventually make sense.
So my tip to marketers is know what you're trying to achieve and know in numbers what you want to maximize. A lot of times we ask companies, what are you trying to maximize here? Is it attention? Is it sales? Is it distribution? And a lot of people don't know. They'll say, well, we'll publish the brand, we'll publish the product, we'll make everybody be aware of the token, try to buy the token, but they're never very specific about what's the number one KPI or number that they really need to maximize. And in different companies, it's different. In different stages of your company, it's different. What we really see is that when a marketer knows what they want to maximize, the number of downloads, okay, that's great. The number of people who make a transaction in the protocol, okay, that's great. The number of new followers per day in my Twitter account, okay. Anything that is measurable, and you think, wow, that's simple, but you'll be surprised how many people that are running the marketing of a very big company, they don't have this number one metric. They have a lot of metrics, and they don't know exactly what to prioritize, and it makes their life very difficult. So that's my one tip. Have one number.
Cool. So we're going to take some questions from the audience. First question would be about KOL marketing. What do you think about it? Is it ruining the industry? Is it something that's is a must-have for any marketing campaign, or your 2 cents?
Well, in Addressable, we're doing advertising. I deeply appreciate the value of KOLs because it's very authentic. A lot of people have this audience, and KOLs in so many fields, but in crypto especially, they have this authenticity that people listen to them. And this authenticity comes with a large price tag. This is sometimes why people don't like KOLs, this huge price tag. But if you remove this price tag, or you negotiate well, then you actually get more authenticity from people talking about you instead of you talking about yourself. And a lot of times, marketers talk about themselves. They have the organic marketing and the blogs and the team talking about yourself, and everybody in the company is talking about the company, and all the marketing is talking about yourself. And this part where someone else is talking about you is so important. We definitely believe it's measurable. You can see exactly how much it moves the needle, how many people come in, how many wallets come in because of every KOL messaging. I think KOLs are are more like PRs, and it means that someone else is talking about you. It's just another type of publisher, a KOL, and it's I think it's authentic. What was made of it, and the amount of money people are requiring to really drive their fake followers to know about you, that's very bad. And this is how we come in and we help everybody who try to work with KOLs to know exactly how many real wallet owners followers they have, what's the reach, what was their past results with many projects, really know what moved the needle with this person or that person, and measure that publisher very easily, the same way you measure anything else.
I actually don't think they're credible, most of them. And even if they were at some point, they lose it at some point. Like most of the KOLs in the space, like kind of lose that credibility at some extent. They're very expensive, and we've tried many of them in different campaigns. It's never worth the ROI, but I still use it sometimes in bigger milestones and big campaigns for the extra distribution, even if they're not the most credible people, in my opinion. They still send a message that you want them to send, and they have an audience, and people see it. But I only do it in very special occasions, and I think there are better tools today that you can distribute content in a constant manner that does not require to pay $2,000 for a Twitter post. Addressable is a perfect example. Odin is another Israeli tool that they're doing in Telegram groups. They actually share your message. Cookie3 has also KO management, but they're different. We built our own sort of ambassador program, so we took people from the community who believe in Polygon. We started paying them to post about us, but at least it's more, it's people who actually believe in you. They don't charge as much, and you just get a pool of like 100 people tweeting about you, that it still does the same job that a KOL would do, which is just distribute more content. I don't believe they're credible, most of them, and the really good ones probably won't even get paid to post something because they will lose their credibility. And one thing, last thing I would say, if you're going to use a KOL, it's much better if they say that they're going to get paid to talk about it. Then it's going to look credible. When we try to avoid it, it happens often in Web3. In Web2, it doesn't happen. Web2, they're always going to say, hey, I got paid, but I really like this product, so I'm still going to talk about it. In Web3, they try to hide it, and then that's how they lose their credibility. So I don't think it's a good approach.
Yeah, I think best case, if you have an existing community, you would tap them first. Whether KOLs are credible or not, I mean, I think it varies. I think you can, become a KOL pretty quickly nowadays by buying into an existing community, but it's only over time that you kind of have to prove your worth, I guess, or like if your opinion actually has value.
Yeah, so KOLs, I think, can be a blessing or a curse. It can. I think most of them, and I agree with Leon here, are not. Once you start getting paid for, like, that's your business model, especially if you don't disclose it, you lose that authenticity. Having said that, you still have some that are your direct channel to the to communities, so you can tap into these communities directly. I think, in my personal 2 cents on that, is that in order to create that campaign, going off and just paying like $1,000 to someone to say something, that can also create a counter. It looks bought a lot of times. I think the best way to work with KOLs, which is harder, obviously, is to have them have some kind of skin in the game, to really believe in you and really think that eventually your success is their success, and then they really wholeheartedly talk about it from a position that they want you to succeed. There are many ways to do it, but eventually, if they don't want to do it, and you're just like, okay, so here's $1,000, it looks like it sounds. So I think it can be a blessing and a curse. I think it's extremely effective and needs to be used, but also coming from a PR background, a CoinDesk, their model is not pay us for coverage. You know, their model is like we report news. Yeah, I know with the just in something, but generally speaking, that's not the business model. You know, and with KOLs, that's actually their business model. Like they want people to pay them to keep the show going, and that's the model. I think we ran out of time. Thank you very much for everyone. I think
one more question for me. I need it for the next panel.
I need you to open your phone.
No, but it's I know it. It's okay. I actually ask it.
It's your question.
I ask it anonymously. Okay. So the next one is going to be about Bitcoin and about building on Bitcoin. You didn't ask it, hopefully, but why do Web3 not really market or target people where they at? Like, or it's all about creating another layer and all about Twitter or Farcaster, rather than saying, oh, there's Instagram or Telegram, or Instagram or other TikTok or whatever where users are, or like trying to be understandable that they would invite to the news. So we were going to talk about Bitcoin for that, but maybe in one sentence, why does Web3 marketeer not targeting people with users where they actually at?
I think they didn't have the tools. Once you understand that people are spending time where they can speak to people and they buy on blockchains, you'll always target them on social networks. And it's just hard. The tools were missing, and this is why it all started the way it started with airdrops. And the more tools exist in targeting in social networks, this is where people spend time, where other people are. And you don't communicate over blockchain. You don't communicate over Bitcoin. You don't communicate over Ethereum. You just buy things over there where you interact with businesses. So the new tools that exist today, addressable and some others, are just for that, for finding people on social networks.
I think the centralized exchanges are doing that because they have a better onboarding than blockchains. And if I need to choose an audience to focus on, I would focus on the ones on the centralized exchanges because they already have crypto, so it's easier to onboard them. At the same time, we're a blockchain targeting developer, so they're not on Twitter, or on Instagram or TikTok. But if I had a B2C product, I would definitely try doing that. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, Twitter has been that place for people who are in crypto already, but I would totally target people outside of it as well. I mean, I do with most of my, I guess, not ads, but like campaigns are outside of Twitter, hoping to tie together. Whenever people might go into Twitter, they're going to make that connection.
Elad?
Yeah, so I agree with Leon. I think that, you know, from a B2C, the B2C angles, like exchanges that are looking for new users, like the crypto.coms and Binances, etc., they're there. They're there, and they're doing a lot of their users are coming from there because their message is very clear. It's buy Bitcoin. How do you buy it? Yeah, you know, sign up. But when you do like B2B or like deeper tech or even like Degen stuff, a lot of times your conversion rates through, I don't know, Instagram might not be as effective as where, you know, the crypto community is like hanging out and they get it. So I think it's been going on for a very long time with exchanges and with tools that are very B2C simple to use. But yeah, the whole B2B side of it still exists in Telegram and Twitter because that's where the community is more present.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Mass adoption and media is all about, mass adoption is sometimes, though, all about creating new media. So I still have some more space here. So if you have some stickers, I'm starting to rent the space. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
BuildingBlocks 2025 in Tel Aviv.